Hello and thank you for joining us. This is Health Matters on Channels Television. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. All over the world, there are more than 252 million confirmed cases of COVID-19. By Friday, November the 12th, the death toll was over 5 million. In Nigeria, there were more than 213,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19, more than 205,000 recoveries, and 2,949 deaths. Globally, over 7.4 billion COVID-19 vaccines have been administered, while in Nigeria, over 5.8 million have got a first shot, and more than 3.2 million people are fully vaccinated. From the manufacture of the first vaccines, there has always been hesitancy to receive them in some quarters, but never have we seen as much reluctance to take a vaccine as we do today. Well, of course, also with the polio vaccine. Could it be because information or misinformation is more freely shared these days, or the fact that almost everyone all over the world is being asked to take the vaccine, even though other diseases have posed serious problems before COVID-19 came on the scene? Some have contended that Africa was not well represented in the trials for vaccine development. Then there is the problem of not always having vaccines when they are needed. In the studio with me is a public health physician, consultant public health physician, and member of the Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Dr. Jamiu Ganiu. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let us first start by asking ourselves, what is causing vaccine hesitancy? First, in the area of COVID-19, and then generally.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I would like to let you know that the issue of vaccine hesitancy is a global thing. It's just that other countries were able to devise different methods to see that they had a better coverage compared to what we are witnessing in Nigeria. Looking at Nigeria in particular, you will believe with me that even right from the word go, people don't believe in existence of COVID-19, the disease in particular. People believe that there are a lot of misinformation. Some believe that its phantom is not really real. And apart from that, the projections that Nigeria will record a lot of morbidity and mortality.
I think that was very damaging to vaccine acceptance.
So it did not really happen. And again, if you look at the epidemiology, you find that it only affects the younger group. And some people have had COVID and recover without taking anything in their homes. And some just, had the experience just like normal malaria and they recovered. And so different, presentation. We had different presentations. It's only a few that had the severe form of it in which they need to be hospitalized and so on. And when you actually look at it, some of them had comorbidities like hypertension and so on. So because people, and again, looking at the impact of the pandemic itself, you find a lot of people have lost their job, lost their daily earning and so on. So people are even dying more of malnutrition, of hunger, of unemployment than even the COVID-19. So because of that, people don't feel like it's a priority to them. And I think those are some of the reasons why people don't. And again, looking at the vaccine itself, there have been a lot of misconceptions about the side effects. You remember sometimes when at the early part of
all that
administration
magnetism.
Some believe that it could cause clothing disorder and so on. So because some people believe that the general believe that it can reduce lifespan. That is a way to wipe out the African generation and population and so on. So there are a lot of misconceptions. But I want to tell you, Nigeria, as at this moment, if you look at our behavior with regards to not complying with non-pharmaceutical measure, you believe with me that people don't even believe in the existence of this virus anymore.
But let's even address the clots.
Yes.
Have we even had any clotting situation in Nigeria?
Not to my
We
knowledge.
haven't recorded any clots.
Not at all.
So that means it must really be minuscule.
No, it's not. It's actually, according to a study at the early part when they were witnessing that in Europe and in Asia, it was believed that it's only excluded to people, Asian with some factors.
Okay, so it was race-related.
Very related. Actually, the issue of clothing has never, so far to my knowledge, has not been witnessed among the blacks. It's only among the whites, with some proposing that it's as a result of certain factor in the blood and so on. but no such cases have been reported.
That means people are right to be saying that Africa should be well represented in studies going forward.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But South Africa was part of one of the clinical trials that took place with one of the vaccine, and we may not have on ground that such kind of study actually take place in Nigeria, but we had Nigerians abroad that have been part of some of these studies. So I think we're also, Africa are not been left out. It's just that the location of the study is what has been the issue. But with the participation of South Africa, I want to believe it's not
it's not such a bad outing after all.
Yeah, Ali would be relatively be represented.
Let's talk about something that is really puzzling. Nigeria has vaccinated roughly 1.5% of the population.
Yes. Completely vaccinated.
Completely
1.5%,
vaccinated,
yes.
1.5%. We need 70% for herd immunity.
Yes.
We have had so far less than 3,000 deaths
Yes.
since COVID-19 started.
Yes.
But look at Europe. Europe has vaccinated like 70% of their population. Germany has done like 67%. And they have so many deaths. Russia had, just a few days ago, had deaths, had almost half the deaths we've had in a whole year plus.
Yeah.
What is going on? Why is this happening?
Well, you know, this virus is still novel. There are a lot of research still going on. And there have been, like, but when you look at India, India had their third wave also.
That's
so
right.
Yes, and it was associated with morbidity and mortality. But looking at science, after they were able to vaccinate about 1 billion population, they were able to achieve that sometime 21st of October.
1 billion, you say?
1 billion. And they have been reversed in terms of morbidity and mortality.
Okay, so this is the argument for the vaccine, that it is effective.
Yes, yes.
Because this in itself, the fact that more vaccinated populations are having more cases and more deaths could be part of the reason why there's hesitancy.
Okay. Let me try to expatiate more. It has been found that, you know, as I've said, the issue of hesitancy is not only particular
exclusive to this.
Nigeria.
Even in Europe, where they're having so many cases, they have hesitancy.
Yes, so it has been found that among those people that refuse to take vaccine, that the morbidity and mortality tend to be a bit higher among them. So a lot of people that are having such cases are majority of those people that are not being vaccinated. That has been based on the study, based on the report we've just gotten. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, based on the India model now, who have vaccinated about 1 billion people, we can say that the vaccine is working.
Yeah.
So, I would really love to know what the vaccine hesitancy is like in India, whether people are now rushing for it or whatever. We spoke, you know, off air before we came about the polio vaccine. There was hesitancy there too. Why was there hesitancy? Because polio comes with paralysis. It comes with death. It comes with deformity. Why was there hesitancy?
Yeah, there was, as I've said, if there are, issue of hesitancy is usually associated with misinformation. I don't know that you remember when a professor from Zaria came up to said the vaccine was meant to, you know, depopulate the people.
We heard all those. We heard those things.
That statement alone actually contributed to some of those hesitancy we witnessed at that time. And you know, when people are ignorant, that's why it is good. Proper education is very important. And again, the issue of acute flaccid paralysis, you know, is not so common. Maybe you could see that among 1 in 500 or 1 million people. So because people are not seeing much of that, people tend to believe that actually polio was not real. But along the day, government was able to devise different strategies, and it worked out.
These are the strategies I want to hear.
Yes.
What strategies can be applied to make people accept vaccines?
Is it COVID or general vaccine generally?
COVID-19 is the issue now.
Okay, you see, based on study by WHO, based on best practices from other countries, I would like to take it to access. It's very important. whatever your plan, when you are talking about access, we are talking about availability, affordability, and acceptability. Our availability is subject to what is being given to us by COVAX. And COVAX depends on Serum Institute of India. And for some time, they've not been producing vaccine. They just started in October. And for now, the little that...
They've not been producing,
or
they've not been exporting?
Yes, they just started exporting to neighboring countries.
Because they had to deal with their issues.
Exactly, local issues. And currently, at the moment, before we can actually witness the magnitude as regards to the vaccine production by Serum Institute, it will be around January based on projection.
Okay.
So that means our strategy depends on external influence, and that may not work. I think we have internal production. I may say, okay, our strategy may likely work out. But now we depend on outside supply, and that's another issue. The issue of affordability. When we're having a coverage of about completed 1.5, and we are talking about paying 6,000 naira in a private facility.
So you're of the opinion that the privatization of the vaccine is not a good idea?
This is not the right time. What we are supposed to have done is good to scale up to private facilities and other places. But what we do is to incentivize those private facilities. Make people, reach an agreement. What are we going to, do to support in terms of achieving better coverage? Therefore, could you expect somebody in a rural person who maybe salary is not more than, what's the minimum wage, minimum wage for health workers? They just increase it to 30,000, right? Or which even up to now, some states are still paying the 18,000 naira.
Yeah, some haven't even had.
Now saying somebody should go and pay 6,000 to take. Do you think people already that are not interested, you are not telling them to pay money, do you think they will be interested in doing that? They will not.
But they would argue that if you don't have the money,
yes,
go to the government facility.
Agree
However,
yes,
some people have confessed to me, quite a few,
yes,
that they've had one vaccine and they're looking for the next. They go to the government facility and they tell them vaccines are out. We're waiting for when we'll be supplied again. You are telling me January, yes, maybe when we will get new vaccines. Yes. What happens to these people when they've passed the due date for a second vaccine? Yes, by several months.
January, I was saying, has to do with when likely the impact of the current production by Serum
will hit Nigeria.
Or the low and middle income countries. Well, there are other pledges, like there was a time the high income countries like US and other pledged to supply 2 billion doses, or which were able to get the Moderna also. So far they'll be able to supply about 14%. So maybe if we could not get from COVAX before end of the year, maybe we may get supply from another.
So it's a game of hit, miss?
Yeah, exactly. It depends on what we're able to get.
Do you foresee some people, some people's vaccines wearing out?
Certainly. Before
they get the second dose?
Yes.
And then they tell those people that they're going to have to start all over again?
What do you want to do? That's it.
that is a serious problem.
Then again, I remember the Johnson & Johnson,
yes,
was actually supplied by African Union. And they made a pledge that the supply is about 177 as first consignment, with the pledge that we'll be receiving such amount on a regular basis
for a period of time.
Until we're able to achieve about 30 million doses. But up to now, it's just one first consignment. So I just pray. I think the way forward is that sometimes in Nigeria, we are producing yellow fever vaccine. And we have the...
Oh, yes, we must talk about that. But let's go on a break first. We'll go on a very short break. Please stay with us till after the break. Welcome back. It's Health Matters on Channels Television, and we're talking about vaccine hesitancy and distribution with Dr. Ganiyu. The number to call if you have a question is 0805 468 3514. It should be showing on your screen while we continue the discussion of vaccine hesitancy and distribution. Dr. Ganiyu, before we go into our manufacture of vaccines, it's great. I thought it was really good it is really good that we get the information of how many people have been vaccinated, how many doses of Moderna we get, how many doses of Oxford AstraZeneca we get. But when it came to Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer, not a peep out of everybody, not a peep out of the government telling us who has got the vaccine, who has used it, how many have been used. First of all, what do you think about that? And secondly, don't you think that is also fueling part of the hesitancy? Because I know quite a few people who wanted Johnson & Johnson. They said, let me just take one dose and go.
Yeah. I want to comment on the issue of data. I want to believe you go to National Primary Care Development Agency.
That's correct.
You will get that. Maybe it has not been in the media space or in the public space. I want to believe they have such data.
Well, I'm going to look for that.
They have,
I see about the other two vaccines, but definitely not about Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson.
And you know, for Johnson & Johnson, it was actually prioritized for riverine areas, rural areas.
Maybe we need to go to those people and find out.
How to reach areas and so. And even that amount is not even enough. Looking at the
Definitely not.
How big the country is,
Definitely not.
170, so it's not enough. So I think the only, as I've said, is the way forward is how do we get this vaccine?
So we were manufacturing yellow fever vaccines at a time. Does that not mean we have the template for manufacture?
Of course.
Do we have the brains for manufacture?
Exactly.
So what do we lack?
Well, I don't think we really, I don't want to say we lack anything. It's just for us to provide an enabling environment. We can partner with India.
Okay. Let me halt you there for a while and call on Patrick. Hello, Patrick. Are you on the line? I think we've lost Patrick.
Okay.
So you said we can partner with India?
Yes.
Hello,
Before I even say that,
Patrick is on.
Okay.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello.
Hello. What's your question? We can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Patrick. I'm calling from Oshogbo.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm calling to contribute to the show. Actually, I'm kind of enjoying the show. It's a very good show. You're doing a very good job. And this is a show that you're using you're using this medium to enlighten the public, that having the vaccine is very important. Because some people just stay at home and they feel the vaccine is maybe some kind of killer to them. So I don't know, you need to make the public know that having the vaccine has nothing, has no harm for that person. So having the vaccine is very important. So
Okay.
happy to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. So,
Okay, before I will digress a bit. That's why we are holding our annual conference.
okay.
By next week, Tuesday.
It's going to address some of these issues.
There are a lot of research work that has been done on COVID-19 by experts, especially our association, in collaboration with Lagos State Ministry of Health. So day one will be one of the activity for on Tuesday, which will be held at Folari Coca Conference Auditorium in Alausa. That is by the staff clinic complex. Is one of the key things that we'll be discussing is generating knowledge. Knowledge generation and sharing on public health, with emphasis on some of the research work that have been carried out on COVID-19. A lot of that will be discussed.
I hope you have a method for addressing the misinformation.
A lot. There have been a lot of research by the association and Lagos State government, and it's mainly on COVID-19 that a lot of research work trying to enlighten people on new findings and so on that kind. So what I'm saying is that we have a lot of resource persons that who can do as much as what is being done, obtainable outside the country. What we just need is a kind of stimulation and encouragement and enabling environment and funding, because some of these you cannot achieve it without proper funding.
Can you break down a bit more for us what an enabling environment is and what stimulation is?
Okay, what I mean is, policies. We need an policy that will, okay, so you are good to go. You know, it will involve tax, all those revenue, other things like that of government, the economic aspect. Government should try to make sure maybe if there are some taxation or tariff that is required in such a situation, government may do some waiver as regards to that, maybe bringing some of those items into the country. Also, they can look at some of these pharmaceutical industries, those that are doing well, and government cannot do a kind of public-private partnership to engage with them to see. There can be there is usually an agreement when on issue of public-private partnership. You know, it will involve managerial issue,
yes,
involve issue of funding, who will provide the service and so on. So government can partner
a
framework to partner with them because we have the human resource.
Is still on the line. Okay. Hello, Jegede.
Hello.
Hello. What's your question?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
We can hear you, Jegede. Go on with your question.
Yes, let me first of all appreciate the presenter. Yes, can you hear me?
Definitely. Yes. Loud and clear.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the presenter has actually broken down the presentation very well, but I want him to address the issue of integrity. Integrity in the context of our leader. We have a lot of issues. People do not believe about the COVID-19 itself because of the fact that what our leader are saying, nobody will actually trust those kind of communication from the leader. So if the leader actually has demonstrated integrity in the area of promises that have been made to the nation at different levels, and then the people have the probability of believing whatsoever they have said. I have heard people talking about even the leader that received those vaccines that is not actually the vaccine that actually received in some quarter to say. So how can we use leadership that is actually very truthful to address the issue of the vaccine efficacy in the context of the COVID-19 now to actually look at? We need to look at that area, because if you don't look at that area, a lot of people in rural area or community, even in the town setting, do not actually believe in our leader. And
thank you so much, Jegede.
Although I might not have the data on the proportion or the number, but most of the communication I've had elsewhere and around area where I stay, including where I work, is that people do not even believe this vaccine to start with. And why? The information that our leader have provided before, they promise this, they fail and all that. So let him address that area also. It's very important.
Thank you so much, Jegede. So because of time,
yes,
this is what I'm going to ask you. Who should be in the forefront of the campaign to stop vaccine hesitancy? Who are the people going to listen to? How will it get into their ears?
Good. As I've said, we need a well-designed campaign strategy. In so doing, we have to look at different level. Everything should not be top-bottom approach. We have to start from the grassroots. Just like when we started, community engagement. We need to get to a level whereby every family will be talking about COVID-19. You know, that's urge to want to take COVID-19 vaccine, and that will involve stakeholder community engagement. And when I'm talking about community engagement, we have to look at who are the key players. Who are those people that matter?
So influencers in the neighborhood.
Exactly. Religious organization is very key in this. Because at times, the way some religious organizations talk about COVID-19 can even discourage people from taking it. So we need to really get them on board, try to see how we can actually convince them so that we can leverage on that, so that they can be a change agent in trying to convince other people to come and take that.
And on that note, we really have to leave. Thank you for coming. It was such an interesting discussion. Thank you for being there with us, Jegede, Patrick, and all of you who allowed us into your homes this morning. Have a wonderful day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.